Stephanie Coco, and this is my Keystone project for the University of Tennessee Veterinary Social Work Certificate Program that focuses on a pet loss support group that I started that met virtually, and some of the goals of that group and the results. My project took place at Cornell University Hospital for Animals, which is in Ithaca, New York. It's an emergency and specialty hospital, and it's a teaching hospital, so we have veterinary students, residents, and interns. And I've also worked here since 2023. Part of the process of getting this group up and running was gaining rapport with administration and key stakeholders. So it took me some time kind of getting their buy-in to understanding like a little bit more about social work and why some of these services were important. And there were smaller projects that led up to this. So I had a lot of interaction with clients on an individual level, both in person, by phone, Zoom meeting, and support to other individuals who work within the hospital as well. Positive experiences and feedback from those that our administration and stakeholders were able to see, and I think gain that trust in me being able to run a group. So as I said, this was a pet loss support group that met virtually. So the area of VSW was animal-related grief and bereavement. The goals of this project and the group were to offer a supportive, non-judgmental environment to discuss pet loss and grief, to normalize the animal-related grief experience, and to encourage a sense of community among people who have recently gone through the loss of a companion animal. And then there were two kind of more specific goals I had, which were to increase feelings of support related to the loss and decrease feelings of isolation related to the loss. Barriers that I ran into, one was that our hospital wanted us to have a consent form that participants would sign, and they wanted the legal team to look at that, so there was some red tape there and back and forth making what felt like very small, minute edits, but once we got that done, we were able to move forward. And then questions I had, one was the size of the group. We sometimes have 100 to 200 deaths of animals in our hospital each month. So each time I sent out that invitation for our monthly support group, I'm inviting a large number of people. And if I get a lot of RSVPs, I was like, how am I going to handle this? So figuring out things like breakout rooms or possibly breaking up the group into multiple sessions each month. Another thing was just figuring out the logistics. How would we invite clients, like sending out that email, attaching the RSVP form, making it so that they can give me feedback or specific information if they need, some organizational pieces. In running this group, the most rewarding experience I would say generally was hearing people say that they hadn't yet felt comfortable opening up about their experience with their loss. So maybe they hadn't shared their emotions or wanted to go deeper and talk to anybody about that. They'd been more internal with it, and that the group gave them an outlet to do so without fear of judgment. Also loved seeing clients who were able to connect about similarities in their grief or offering support to one another, so just that connection between group members. And it was also great seeing the sharing of resources, people mentioning something like a podcast, a self-care idea, a TED Talk, book suggestion, and someone else saying like, oh, what was that? Can you put that in the chat? And being exposed to something that they didn't know about before. So as I said, there were those two things I was measuring when I did this group. So every time we held our monthly support group, which I think I mentioned, but these all met on Zoom, partially because of our location being a little bit out of the way for a lot of our clients, so coming back could have been a barrier. We were measuring how the group affected their perceived feelings of general support related to their loss and how the group affected their perceived level of isolation following the loss. And generally, the trends were that participants felt higher levels of support and lower levels of isolation after attending the group, which was what I hypothesized and what I had hoped for. So that was sent out, a survey was sent out by email each month for those participants who attended. And the effects of this project have been more long-term, which has been amazing. So the group has continued to run monthly with a good amount of participants, and there's been continued positive remarks from participants, either right then and there in the group or after the group, people emailing or reaching out to me. Largely people saying that they enjoyed connecting with others who are grieving and can understand where they're coming from. feeling like they're more normal in the way that they're grieving than they thought. Some people say something like, I don't know if this is weird, but, and then realize there's other group members feeling similarly. And also a lot of people saying that they've gained new ideas on how to cope with grief and new skills. That is my project. Thank you very much.